What is going on, AHS Rules back again with another video, and we're here for another Ring of Honor TV review, episode number 67. And there are a lot of things to go through in this episode, so we're going to jump right into it. So, I will say this. I'm going to go off on a bit of a side tangent in this beginning portion, and then once it is done, I'll get into the TV review. But if you're here just for the TV review, I'll put a timestamp down. The main reason this side tangent is going to happen is because on this week's Dynamite, we had two current Ring of Honor champions return after being out of action for a while, so I wanted to run it down real quick. The first of which was the current Ring of Honor World Champion, Mark Briscoe, who took some time off after his family had another child, so congratulations to his family. And he qualified for the vacant TNT title ladder match at Forbidden Door at the end of the month. Now, the other champion to return is current Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta, who's been out for around 4 to 5-ish months. They never really specified what the injury is, but obviously he is cleared and good enough to go, and he got the pin for the Blackpool Combat Club in the 8-man tag on Dynamite. Now, the main reason I bring up his return is A, glad to see him back. B, I'll go over it again in a second. C, very, 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 very obscure Ring of Honor lore here. Now, somebody tweeted about it on Twitter, so I apologize to them. And Tony Khan replied to it, so that's why I saw this tweet. And it's something that I have thought about several times, and again, I'll explain why more so in a minute. But this Saturday on Collision, it will be Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta versus FTR. Now, again, this is a good match. It should be a great match. I don't know what the hell's happened. Hasn't happened yet. But the reason this is weird or relevant to Ring of Honor, the very end of the 2022 Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, cheap plug, Death Before Dishonor is happening again next month. But at the end of that pay-per-view, it was FTR versus the Briscoes, 2 out of 3 falls match. Great rivalry between FTR and the Briscoes. Now, after the match, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, who Claudio was then the ROH World Champion, and Wheeler Yuta was the Pure Champion still. William Regal was out there. I probably shouldn't mention that, but I did. And they came out at the end of the match and stood on the stage, and the show closed with all 4 champions holding their titles up, but FTR was still in the ring, BCC was still on the stage. Nothing really came of it. We didn't really know what to think of it. Maybe is FTR joining the BCC? Maybe are we getting a champions versus champion, ROH, or again a champions challenge match out of it? Nothing came of it for a while. Now, almost 2 years later, we're getting an actual 2-on-2 match out of it. And I'm glad I'm not the only person that thinks of it, because somebody, again, like I said, tweeted about it on Twitter. And even Tony Khan was like, yeah, that did happen. So, 2 years in the making for this. And again, the main reason I think of this is because I watched the FTR and Briscoe's rivalry and matches over and over again. And that was kind of a sidestep out of that rivalry. So, good to see that happening. Last thing, now that Wheeler Yuta is back, this is a match I've been wanting to see, and I've suggested in my mind, but I'm going to say it out in the public now. Wheeler Yuta, Kyle O'Reilly for their Pure title at Death Before Dishonor. Kyle O'Reilly keeps getting title matches, international title and TNT title. I'd like to see him get a Pure title match, considering when he was in Ring of Honor, the Pure division was retired and was not brought back yet. So he was in that middle portion where there's no Pure division, and I feel that he would fare very well in that. So, now we are on to the TV review portion. I will say, like I've been saying the past month or so, is that the taping schedule for this is kind of, I'm not going to say all out of whack, and to be honest, I don't know if and when they will get caught up. It's not of the utmost importance, but their episodes have been shorter and whatnot, and it was not until the very end of this episode that I knew exactly where this took place, but this would have been last week in Vegas because it was mentioned. So, I'm writing down when the review portion starts. So now, our opening contest was Queen Aminata versus Maserati. Both escape collar and elbow tie-ups. Aminato lands a powerful German suplex, setting up a big running knee to the outside. In between these, she is talking to the camera and talking to Athena, who was not there, and then won the matchup with an air raid crash. Next thing, Dalton Castle has a backstage interview, and he's trying to be very peaceful for his big matchup tonight. And with doing so, he apologizes to Lexi Nair, who has helped him for almost the past year dealing with several things in ROH, but mainly Johnny TV. And it's weird that the two backstage promos tonight, someone's name was said, and then they suddenly appear as Johnny TV and Taya Valkyrie pop up, and Johnny TV confronts Dalton Castle for stealing his glasses, and Dalton Castle said that he did not, and that he's got to worry about his big plans that are coming up. And Johnny TV's like, well, I have bigger plans, and then both of them show off the size of their plans. For some reason, when I wrote this down, I put it in all caps, I guess, to exaggerate how big their plans are. That being said, I don't know if something's going to come out of this. I would hope not, because they've been feuding since December, and it was finally time for them to go their separate ways. So now they've crossed each other. I don't know if that's going to come out of this. Next matchup, I also will say, allergies are heavy as a MF in this, so I'm sorry if I keep sniffling and whatnot. Marina Shafir and Amari is next. An immediate takedown by Shafir. Shafir lands a big kick to the front and to the back to Amari, and then wins the matchup with a front sleeper hold. As this leads into our TV title match, Kyle Fletcher versus Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle desperately wants to reclaim the television championship that he held several years ago, as he feels that he is TV ready now. Both exchange tying up in the ropes at the beginning, and then both go in and out of the ring. Fletcher starts to target the neck and right shoulder area of Castle. Castle lands a series of suplexes and attempts the bangarang several times. Fletcher lands a dragon suplex on the outside, and then both attempt their finishers in the ring, the bangarang and the pile driver, and it's kind of a little bit of a booyah spot in between those. Castle has two close roll-up attempts, but it was not enough once he is hit by the pile driver by Kyle Fletcher, extending Kyle Fletcher's TV title reign. Next matchup is the Infantry versus Nick Camarado and Jacoby Watts. Now, last week, I talked about Camarado and Watts and how I really don't understand this dynamic the two share. This week, I feel slightly better, so we're going a little bit in the right direction. Kind of giving some encouraging words, I guess. But Camarado and Bravo start the match off. Camarado skins the cat at one point in this match. Watts stops a boot camp attempt, which is the most offense he has done in his Ring of Honor career, but gets hit with a double super kick. Camarado is mainly double team for most of this match, and the Infantry win with a scissor kick frog splash combo. As now we get that other backstage segment that I was mentioning, and it is Lee Johnson mentioning once again he is on another winning streak, but he has nothing to show for it, and he says Kyle Fletcher's name, and this prompts Kyle Fletcher to pop up and mention to Lee Johnson again that he has beat him twice in the course of 6 months, which it's weird because only one of them was a one-on-one match. The other one was survival of the fittest. So if you want to count it, you can, I guess. But Lee Johnson says that he can beat him twice in one match, and he challenges him to a 2 out of 3 falls match that Fletcher accepts, but don't know if and when this takes place. Speaking of the television championship, the women's television championship has a proving ground match up next with Billy Starks versus Zamaya. Starks spends most of the match taunting and then wins with a swan dive, with the important thing happening after their match as Red Velvet tries to sneak attack and attack Starks, but Starks runs out of the ring, in which she is met by Queen Aminata and thrown back into the ring with Red Velvet attacking her then. As now we get our main event match, a 3-team trios match. I don't remember how they prompted it, but I think 3-team trios is kind of more understanding. The teams include Johnny TV, Cole Carter, and Griff Garrison versus the Iron Savages versus the Dark Order. I learned that this episode was taking place in Vegas because Jack Jameson runs down Vegas for, in his words, having a bunch of wussies. The start of this match involves Jack Jameson and John Silver taunting one another with a pose down. As always with these more than 2-team tag matches, we get an extreme amount of tags, so it is very difficult to cover everything that happened. I think the most important thing was Johnny TV was taking out almost all the Iron Savages, and then he does a pose down with Cole Carter and Griff Garrison, and then he gets attacked by the Iron Savages after that. The Dark Order win this matchup with their flip triple team slam. I'm glad that y'all can't see that because I had a humongous booger running down my nose, and that is a great way to end this episode, so I could go take care of that. But all in all, I enjoy this episode of ROH. I didn't really have much to complain about. I will say the good thing is I don't know what the hell is going to happen on next week, and even to that extent, because like I said, they tape stuff so far in advance, the week after that. So tune into those episodes. I do thank you for watching these. Stay safe, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.